My mom was 18 or 19 when she got pregnant with my older sister. I remember the entire time when I was being raised by her saying that when I have a kid, it should only be when I'm ready. When there was a war on my body and a war on my rights. This is a problem, and it's a problem that cannot wait. When the Texas abortion ban was passed, I was really upset, and a part of me was in disbelief at how something like that could happen in America, a place that claims to be land of the free. But how can we be free when we don't have the freedom to decide what we do with our own bodies and what we do with our own lives? And I felt like somebody had to say something about it. Somebody had to do something.
I'm not usually very good at expressing my gratitude for the people that I care about.
I decided to speak out against the very recent passing of the Texas abortion ban. The only people who knew that what I was doing were my parents. It was a secret to absolutely everybody else, including my friends and the school faculty. It's a very real possibility that if the diploma hadn't already been in my hand when they said that I might not have ever gotten it. And I knew that it wasn't going to be a fun experience afterwards. I knew that I was going to get a lot of hate. Some bridges were going to be burned. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, when do I stop being quiet? When do I start to speak up and say something? Because if the point isn't where you could be forced to have a child against your will, regardless of how it's going to impact your life, when are you going to speak up? When does that point come?
Under light of recent events, it feels wrong to talk about anything but what is currently affecting me and millions of other women in the state.
My journey into activism, it kind of was like a flip of a switch. One day I was just, I was walking the halls of high school, going to class. The next day I was making headline news, international news.
Paxton Smith.
Paxton Smith says she initially had one speech prepared for her fellow graduates of Lake Highlands High School in Dallas, Texas, but then she had a change of heart.
My mom was 18 or 19 when she got pregnant with my older sister, and abortion never once crossed my mom's mind. She was already married at the time. She was also trying to get an education at the same time and start a career at the same time, and she was also just trying to grow up because she was so young. And I remember the entire time when I was being raised by her saying that when I have a kid, it should only be when I'm ready, because it takes a lot of sacrifice to be able to raise another person. It was the messages where people just wanted to share their story with me, their story with reproductive health, with abortion, whether it was before abortion was illegal or after. Those were really hard for me to read, but I'm really grateful that I did get to read them, because they inspire me to keep doing what I'm doing, because I can see through their stories the reality that we could face if this isn't a right that people have. I never want to be put in a situation where I'm forced to have a child against my will, and it's my right to decide what I do with my body. It is a basic human right.
6 weeks. That's all women get. And so before they realize, most of them don't realize that they're pregnant by 6 weeks.
I would go back and do it again. I work with nonprofits a lot. I'm on the board of directors for WRAP, the Women's Reproductive Rights Assistance Project. So we fund abortions in the United States. So a lot of times if people in Texas, they can't get abortions and they have to travel across state lines to get an abortion, that can be very expensive. There's a lot of days where I'm just upset that this is something that I even have to advocate for. Like, I grew up thinking that the right to decide what I do with my body and my life was set in stone. There was nothing I would ever have to worry about something happening to that. And so now that it's a really big part of my life, just advocating for this basic human right. because it is really, really important to just keep working towards those rights. And sometimes it's a long and monotonous journey, but it's something that has to be done.